Hello, everyone. After a very long wait, we are back. An odyssey, some would say. Top Ends with Twins is here. Go and like and subscribe on YouTube. That's what we're here for. Or Spotify. We survived off the thumbs up. That's how we feed our families. Yeah. I hope we make a lot of money. Are we going down the profit route, Luke? Is this what this podcast is about? We're about to list on the NASDAQ. So yeah, we make some money. No, this is for fun. But welcome back to Top Ends of Twins. So Paul, tell the people how you're doing.
Arsenal just won in the Champions League, so all hope is restored and things are doing well in the universe.
The spiral is not spiraling anymore.
I basically hit the force field where I stopped like 2 feet above the ground,
Nice.
and it was gradually falling to the ground. So
Star Wars, I think?
Yeah, a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
No, but things are going well. It has been a little bit since we've done a podcast, so I think both of us are really excited to get back here up in the attic and record some really good FPL content for you all. I think, Luke, I mean, the general idea here is that we're going to go over just kind of the general layout for the rest of the season, and mostly really focusing on like where the chip usage is going to fall.
Yes.
And talk about some things. But if you want to give people an update real quick, let us know where your team's at right now.
My team is in an okay state. Where I am at with it, though, the current moment, like a lot of FPL managers out there, I'm currently debating, do I wild card now? Because I still have a wild card left. And for context, I have a wild card, I have bench boost, and I have triple captain left. Oh, man, so I have 3 chips. But I might.
It's tough though.
I might be missing the most important one, free hit, because with the doubles coming before the blanks, that makes it really difficult for us to then be ready for that next following game of 34. We'll get into more of that, but I'm trying to decide where I'm going to go with my chip usage. I do think, as of now, and I'll tell this to everyone on the podcast, you heard it here live on Top Twins with Twins, I think I will be wildcarding going into game week 32 is what my plan is up now.
Yep.
With that caveat, like I said earlier, I don't have my free hit. So we'll kind of talk about how I'm going to try to manage that with my wild card. And I've got a couple strategies for doing that. The remainder of my chips, you can probably guess. The bench boost would then be, so wild card in 32, bench boost would be 33, and then I'd be using my triple captain in 36. Get on, most likely Holland, but we will see how that develops.
That's going to be so scary for me.
Yeah, that'll be scary for all of us.
Yeah. For reference, I have wild card, free hit, and bench boost available at the time, which I mean I think affords a little more flexibility for navigating the blink in 34, and then kind of going forward from there. But I will say having that triple captain chip is really powerful, Luke. So I am going to be hiding in a corner somewhere during game week 36 whenever City are playing for maybe multiple reasons.
I keep telling myself that the reason why I'm at a million overall rank is because everyone used their triple captain on Gabriel, and that shot them out of the rank. So once I use my triple captain,
20 points,
that'll bring me right to the 20K or
God, it's just so crazy because like the Gabriel triple captain almost worked out. It really did. Like if Arsenal wouldn't have conceded against Wolves in that game, you get a Gabriel goal and then a clean sheet as well. He hauls and things look a lot better, So our backs are exposed though, Gabriel triple captainer. So we'll see how that all that lays out. But yeah, look, I would probably say that I agree with you at this point. I think probably the best move forward would probably be the safest move. I would say is probably going kind of with the flock a little bit and wildcarding in 32.
I don't know. That's not the popular strategy of this.
What do you think it is?
32 was, and then as we need to address as well, Arsenal losing in the FA Cup has completely changed the dynamics as well. And then for a lot of people, West Ham not winning in the FA Cup and progressing, I think that was the final shot for a lot of people. Because West Ham had a good fixture lined up. In 33, they played, got right here. So in 33, West Ham play Crystal Palace, and then they would have been adding Everton from 34 into a double for 33. So in Crystal Palace and then Everton at home, those are good fixtures.
Yeah.
That's something you can target. And there's a couple good players to target. Like Jared Bowen's a great person to have in your wild card then if they would have doubled. So I think that put a lot of people off of the idea of wild carding in 32. And it seems like where a lot of content creators are pushing people towards is it seems like holding that wild card until 35. So then you have the blanks out of the way. And what that allows is for you to target the
36 and then the rest of the game.
36 double, and you're really going after those remaining weeks. It's a very narrow window though, and that's why I don't love that idea. To me, I feel like I wouldn't be getting the maximum amount of points out of reshaping my team if it's just 4 game weeks.
See, I consider that too, but I mean, to me, it's like, I mean, the bigger double is game week 33.
Yeah.
There's more doublers. You can maximize, say, a bench boost in that. And then you also have those transfers where, especially, I mean, so if you wild card in 32 and then bench boost in 33 without any transfers, you build in a transfer. Then the next week, you free hit. You come out of that in the 35, where you probably hopefully can roll a transfer as well too.
Yeah.
And then going into 36, you can also make 2 transfers, maybe even 3 for a -4. Like it feels like there's flexibility where you can even catch up with wild card 30, 35, 34, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think a lot of people were saying that their concern with the wild card in 32 was that then they're worried that their team feels kind of stale by 35, that they're not going to have enough time, right? That you wild card in 32 and then by 35, you're going to want a completely different team. So I think by me not having my free hit, that's going to make me a wild card in a team that also makes it better for 35 and going forward from that point.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that a little bit more, but I did want to ask you all. So we all know that Arsenal lost in the FA Cup. That's the reason why 32 is not the popular strategy. What were your takeaways as an Arsenal fan, and how can we apply that to our FPL decision making? So, with very focused question here, do you think we need to have Arsenal assets in our team, and how many should we have?
I would just have Gabriel.
That's it. Okay.
I honestly, at this point, I mean, we can see. I think the 2 other options you would maybe consider are I would maybe consider Gyökeres at this point. He's scoring goals.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the value. There's other strikers that are doubling, probably in better form than he is at the moment.
Right.
Besides that, I mean, the midfielders, you don't really know who's going to start, who's in form. There's nobody that's really a standout pick. And I know Rice had his run midway through the season, all that stuff, but the returns have kind of dipped off for him. I think it's kind of due to
he's kind of like Elliot Anderson, where I feel like he's on the verge. He's not as reliable as Anderson for hitting DEFCON, but he's always on the verge of that. Mm-hmm. And for a while, he was on the verge of getting attacking returns.
Yeah,
but like you said, those have really dried up. So we also Saka's not an option. We're gonna get
don't include Saka in a wild card. He wasn't even in the team for Champions League. Like I've seen that around a little bit on social media. Like don't include him. He's way too much. If you want to take a risk, I would even go Madueke over him because like he's probably going to play more than Saka will.
Yeah,
but they don't even double. So I would just say, it's hard for me to wild card Gabriel out of my team because he's probably been one of the best assets of the whole season. Stuff has kind of dried up for him as well too. Mm-hmm. So I would say just 1 in Gabriel in my long-winded answer, or 0.
Okay, I like that. For me, not as educated as you are in Arsenal. I didn't watch that.
I've only watched every minute.
A true fan.
It's a problem.
No, it's good. That's a good thing. But when I look at Arsenal, I think that there's a pathway where having double defense could be good. I think that they're going to prioritize not allowing other teams to score goals as they have prioritized.
Can they do?
That's the thing. I mean, today they kept a clean sheet.
But I mean, look, Ryan made 1 fingertip save to send a great shot off the bar. Another one, a diving stop. Like the control thing, like it's just a 50-50 if Arsenal are going to keep it clean sheet, because they're going to give up those little chances. But go ahead, sorry.
The thing is, you're always going to concede chances in a full match. The way that they try to control games, lately they haven't been controlling them and eliminating those high opportunity chances, is what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
So, but I do think double Arsenal defense is probably the best pathway if you want to go with Arsenal. That's where my mindset is lying at. We do know, as of now, after watching Champions League, Gabriel played all 90 minutes in UCL. So he's a viable option for FPL. Because if he's playing 90 minutes in Champions League, he's then going to have to play 90 minutes in the Premier League, right? If we see that, unless he was re-injured better, because that would be a really bad sign for Arsenal's title hopes if Gabriel's then not able to play for an extended stretch. I think then we'd be back in the spiral point of the call here. So if you
it's already happening a little bit. I'm thinking about that.
I was freaking out.
I mean, we saw it happen in the Southampton match. Whenever you get subbed out 70 plus a minute, you go up in a goal probably in transition that most likely would not happen with him there. So God, let's just hope that there's no other big injuries. There's nothing else that happens. But
we got
So go ahead, Luke. Where are you going?
Okay. So I think while we're talking about doubles, blinks, what we need to do is lay out for listeners exactly what's going to happen, right? Exactly what we expect to happen, because there's still some possibilities that these projected fixtures might change. Okay. The important thing though is that we do know teams are going to double in game week 33 that have now moved on to the FA Cup semifinals, and then they're going to blink in game week 34. Right. Those 6 teams are going to do this from memory: Man City, Brighton, Leeds, Bournemouth,
think London.
Fill in the gaps for me.
Chelsea, and then Leeds. Do you say Leeds?
I said Leeds. So it is. I'm missing Burnley. Sorry, Burnley. Maybe not full enough.
What, Fleming isn't in your wild card?
That's awkward. He is not. But okay, so those 6 teams are going to double in game week 33. They're going to blank in game week 34. We also have Man City, who need to reschedule the fixture that they missed in game week 31 with Crystal Palace. Right. So
6.
Yeah. So most likely that will go in 36. It's not guaranteed yet. The Premier League has not made a statement on that yet. So that could either go in 36 or 37. It just depends, because those are midweeks between European fixtures. It kind of depends on where the Premier League prefers for those to go. So on top of that, and what also complicates that as well, is Crystal Palace is still playing in Europe. That's what makes this difficult. That's why we don't know for certain where it's going to go. Kind of depends on how Crystal Palace continues to perform in the Europa Champions League. So
hopefully they win it all.
Potentially.
Wouldn't that be a great Palace season?
That would be crazy.
Back-to-back cup years.
Yeah. They're not in Europa League. They're in
Europa Conference League.
Conference League. Yes. Sorry. So, but then we also have the possibility for Bournemouth to blink in potentially game week 37 or game week 36. In 36, they'd be doubling against Fulham or Man City, or potentially in 37 against just City. So we'll have to see where those go and pay attention to that. But the thing here that I think we need to look at is, for every team, the situation is different to how their team is set up, right? So I'm going to run you through a couple scenarios, and then we're going to give our listeners advice on how to handle that. So let's say that you have your free hit and wildcard left. How would you play your team?
I would still stay with. If I just had free hit and wild card, I would probably free hit for the double in 33. And then I would probably wild card in 35.
That's exactly what I would do too.
Yeah, because I feel like that maximizes it, and not having the free hit to use in 34 for that big blank could be a huge detriment to your team because you don't want to just like bring in players on transfers, take negative hit points for that 1 week, and then be like, oh, I brought these players. My week was okay. And then you're stuck with those players for the rest of the season. You're missing all those assets from especially City and Chelsea probably. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the same page with you as that. I think that there's a higher upside using a free hit in a double game week as opposed to a blank game week. And what you would have to do for most teams, if you're going to wild card into the double, so 32 or 33, you're going to be loading up on those doublers, right? But then 34 becomes very complicated.
Yeah.
So I think you can really maximize that free hit using it in 33 and then wild card at 35 on the back end of that. That would agree. Hey, look at that.
First time ever.
First time ever. Okay. Next round for you. So if a listener out there has a wild card and a triple captain, what would you advise them to do?
I would wild card in probably. Let me see. What are the doubles for this one?
Okay. I have an idea for this.
Yeah, go for it. You go ahead.
For me, if I just had a wild card and a triple captain left, I would wild card in game week 32 and set up my team to where I can maximize the doubles as much as I possibly can. Wild card in some single game week players that will then be playing in game week 34 and get it to where I have probably 7 or 8 at least that are playing in 34 to where I think you get enough to where you can have enough players, and then it just comes down to captaincy. If you pick the right captain that week, you're going to be perfectly fine. So you're playing with fire a little bit, but I think it's a way to survive that double, and then you can use that triple captain game of 36, 37, whenever City do double, and pick whoever you want at that point.
Yeah, I think that's probably a very practical viewpoint to take, and that's probably what I would decide. But just for shits and gigs, do you want to hear hear an ultra differential idea here?
Of course.
I would triple captain DCL in game week 33. Wolves at home. Bournemouth away. And then I would wild card in 35, a holding team for the rest of the season for that double, and then from there forward.
Huh.
just an ultra differential for people out there.
DCL hasn't let anyone down this season, so it's a flawless plan.
So I mean, if you look at it though, I feel like Leeds Wolves is going to be a high scoring match for some reason. It just sometimes I have a gut feeling with certain matches. Here's that one feels like it will be, and then Bournemouth away. Bournemouth just gave up goals for fun. Like
I think Leeds at home playing Wolves. I think they're going into that match saying, if we win this match, we're not going to be relegated. I firmly believe that if they won that match, they'd be perfectly fine. And relegation becomes a fainter of a thought. It's not as likely in that scenario. So if they know they need 3 points, they're like, we're going to go out and score a ton of goals.
And that is the answer, people. If you're in a relegation fight, score goals.
Spurs.
That's the answer.
That's why Deserby came in. Here's one thing.
Don't say you want to bring in any Spurs. I
am targeting bringing some in, and I'll talk about that later. But
it's crazy.
Clearly, they're going.
That is crazy.
They're not going the route of most relegation teams. Like, we're gonna edge out a point here. We're gonna get 1 point for the rest of the season, and that should be enough to keep us up. They're saying we're gonna score as many goals as we possibly can, and we're gonna try to get 3 points in a couple matches. That's how I think they're approaching.
Listen, there is a higher likelihood of Deserby being gone in 4 weeks than me ever bringing in a Spurs asset into my team this season.
Potentially.
Which one? If you had a bet on one, which one would you bet on? We don't endorse sports gambling, but we're gonna just for
I don't bet, so I won't say.
Come on. Let's hear it.
You go first.
You know what I would bet on? I would bet on Deserby being gone in 4 weeks over me ever bringing in a Spurs player.
You know, I would take you up on that. I think that Spurs will stay up and he'll be their manager in the Premier League next season.
Okay, we'll see.
Do we want to wager something on this?
No.
Okay, because you
No.
know, like,
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that like there's not a chance.
not a chance.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a bit extreme, Martin. But
It is extreme, sir.
okay, Paul, my question to you. So we have 14 teams that are not going to be doubling or blanking. Out of those 14 teams, which ones stand out to you as worthwhile investments for managers? So this would be for the people that we were just talking about that are going to potentially wild card in 32 or 33, and then wild card in some single game week players to get them through that blank in 34.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Do you want me to list them off the top of my head?
Yeah, if you know all the
So,
teams, like
I think Aston Villa have a really good run. If we look at Villa's fixtures, they have
the list here.
Forest, Sunderland, Fulham, Tottenham at home, Burnley, Liverpool, and Man City. So the next one, the next 5 fixtures for Villa are top notch. They're really, really good, and I would
How much do you trust them?
I would wager that we see Morgan Rogers play himself into form very soon, because ideally he has the talent and the ability to be starting for England. It wouldn't shock me if that's what's the front mind, and he needs to prove that to Thomas Tuchel that he belongs to be in that starting 11 come June.
Yeah, no, I like the Morgan Rogers shout. If we're also looking at teams, I mean, United have to be in the conversation. Like just the way they've been playing, we just burned the fuck out of his mouth with the teams. My God, that just woke up Luke sinuses. But I would say Manchester United. I also like Crystal Palace. I'm just a massive fan of. I think Munoz going forward could be a great pick to kind of have in your team to end the season. Star price point, he's maybe on fence still, not really sure about.
I would say so. Yes.
There's also Harry Wilson, even though Fulham's run isn't really great. I mean, you look at they go Liverpool, Brentford, Villa, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Wolves, and Newcastle. I mean, there's difficult fixtures in there. He's shown us over the season though he's going to return if he's playing. So if Harry Wilson feels like somebody that needs to be in your team, even if he's not doubling. I like Everton assets right now too. I think Everton are playing pretty good football at the moment.
Yeah, they are.
Like I had Njai last week. That guy really that really
He
paid
had a
out.
great performance. he looks so. He's one of those players that he's just so smooth on the ball.
Oh, he's
And also the goal that he scored against Chelsea, you know, he's dribbling the defender, takes a quick touch to the right, and he just
whips it done.
But it's a snapshot too. But he's so quick to get the ball off his foot, and it just bends perfectly in that top corner. That man, he's a fun player to watch, and a fun player to have on our field teams.
Yeah, I agree with you. Luke, what other teams would you highlight?
So in my mind, I think another wrinkle here, a very important consideration, rec field managers, we need to be targeting teams that have something to play for at this point. So what that means, we could be looking at teams who are competing for Europe, right? There's a lot on the line for that. We know that financially there's a huge incentive for these clubs to be pushing for that. So they're going to have to play their best players and really be trying to get the results so that they can stay in European competition for the next season. The caveat with that as well is we also want to look at teams that are fighting relegation battles. So, you know, what comes to mind there? Spurs, Leeds, West Ham, Nottingham Forest. Burnley and Wolves are pretty much going down at this point, but you better believe Burnley will continue to score the odd goal to kill their team's clean sheets.
But I mean, can we have a moment of silence for Wolves? Like what they've done over the past 2-3 months has really been remarkable.
Yeah,
like that was a team at the beginning of the season where it was like 6 goals. Get an asset in your team.
Yeah,
and then Rob Edwards has just done a awesome job turning them around. So
He has.
as much as I hate to admit it with some
That-
results, but
That will catch the eye of a lot of, I don't know if like top clubs, but a lot of European teams will be keeping an eye on him.
maybe if Middlesbrough comes up, maybe they'll hire him. Don't they call him?
Sorry, you're right.
My God,
I'm calling it hard over here. But okay, so like we're saying, those relegation teams, and then also teams competing for Europe. But then I think if we look at the Premier League table, we have Fulham in 9th place with 44 points. Potentially, we could see, and they are 4 points behind Chelsea in 6th. So, I mean, we have 9 or 10 teams that will be actively competing for European spots.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think. Like having someone like Harry Wilson is a great shout. It's a good player to have. So any of those teams in the top, say like really the top half of the table, I think they're worthwhile investing in because they know they have to push. They have to get 3 points in order to stay in the competition with Europe. So keep an eye on those teams. And as far as relegation teams, it becomes a little tricky because they're in a relegation battle. Clearly, they haven't been some of the best teams this season, but someone's going to differentiate themselves and just push out of that battle, I think, over the next 2 or 3 game weeks. And I really think it could be Leeds, like we were talking about.
That FA Cup win means a lot for them.
It does. Yeah, I
Just
think
for like the lifeblood and momentum of their season. But it could be pivotal,
imagine how crushing that would have been if they're up 2-0 going into the 92nd minute, and then they would have lost that match. That would have been extremely detrimental to their entire season going forward.
That would have been
really
tough to bounce back from that one.
But I do think that with this in mind, like there are teams that we can target a single game week play and single game week team. So Paul, you kind of look through the list. Are there any specific teams that stand out to you that you think would be worthwhile to invest in if you're on a wild card?
I mean, I think Bruno Fernandes has to be in everybody's team. Yep. Like Bruno Fernandes I can't talk.
Are you okay?
Bruno Fernandes. And this is a sneaky kind of thing here. I think Florian Wirtz could be a great pick to end the season. I think kind of the form he's been in with Germany. Liverpool have Champions League still. They have some games going on. So more games for him to kind of get more into the team and all that stuff. I think that he could be a sneaky good pick. It's just his price point is difficult, especially if you're going all in on midfielders in that realm. But besides that, I mean, I would say Brentford with Thiago. He just feels like kind of a set and forget in your team. But like I said, there's at the moment, I think a lot of people are going to go big on forwards that are doubling. So he may not make it to a lot of people's teams.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's been someone I've had on my team for the last maybe like 7 or 8 game weeks. He's been really good. He's provided me some returns that have kept my season afloat because he's very low ownership. And I hate to say it, but I do think I'll be parting ways with him in my wild card.
I probably will too. But I feel like maybe we're looking too much into the doubles because I feel like there's certain players that are kind of in form right now that I'm going to take them out of my team for the double game week. And it's like, do you take 2 fixtures with somebody you're not certain about, or do you stay with somebody that has performed for you?
Here's the thing, though. I think as far as Wirtz goes, he's looked a lot better in Germany as opposed to Liverpool.
Yeah, for sure.
So that kind of, I'm trying to filter that out a little bit in my decision making because he looks like a different player with Germany, but he's looked a lot better for Liverpool. But I still think Slot's not getting the best out of him. So beginning next season, when Xabi Alonso is the head coach in Liverpool,
I know exactly where you're going with that.
Then he's going to be in everyone's teams because we're going to want to have him. And potentially they can figure out how to get Ekitike and Isak and, Wirtz and all on the same team, which would be a lot of fun.
No, that would check.
You just got scared.
I got a little bit of pony shell.
I'm thinking about Liverpool next season already.
I'm worried about this fucking season. I'm not worried about next season right now.
Jesus, this man needs a beer.
I'm gonna have a beer. There's no doubt about it. Well, Luke, so are there any other teams you want to highlight there?
I mentioned Aston Villa. I like their fixtures a lot. I also really do like West Ham. I think West Ham have good fixtures.
Can they deal with the psychological blow, though, the FA Cup defeat? That's the flip side from what we were talking about Leeds there.
It's a fair question, but it's a relegation 6-pointer, technically, for West Ham this week. Going in game week 32, they have Wolves at home. We know that Wolves are going to be relegated, but it's still really important 3 points for West Ham to pick up.
Or
Being that it's a 6-pointer, I think you rely on your main man, Jared Bowen. And I don't think Somerville's coming back anytime soon, from what I've seen. Jared Bowen is going to have to step up. He hit the post twice, 3 times in the FA Cup against Leeds.
I think he technically would have had an assist, right, on one of the.
Yeah, he would have
had an FPL
they
assist.
finished the opportunity. So would have had an FPL assist there, but Jared Bowen feels like the man to invest in right now. And for me, the reason why I think Jared Bowen will make his way into my team is because I need him for the blinks. Right?
Mm-hmm.
For the blink, he has a good fixture. He has Everton at home. I feel like that's a match that he could return in. And I'm kind of wagering at that point, Everton are going to be out of European competition. They're going to be out of the competition for Europe at that point.
Possibly.
So with that calculation, I feel like West Ham could be a good pick to have. So someone to keep an eye on there would just.
It's also just so funny looking at the table where you see Chelsea, who were in the title race, and they're sitting there with 48 points, and Arsenal is at 70, and City at 61.
They're an absolute mess right now.
Like, don't come at me with that bullshit. Like, get out of here, Chelsea.
The thing about Chelsea, it feels every organization takes on the mentality, and I don't know if "or" is the right word, but everything feeds from the top down in almost every organization. And it feels like it's the same thing at Chelsea. With the way that they've recruited certain players,
I mean, half their team's in Madrid right now. Like they were all scouting for next season. Whose position they're going to take? Like,
I'm not sure. I think Enzo used that break to.
Which that, but I'm not.
That's kind of what I'm referring to. Is they've picked a very specific type of player, and almost it seems like personality type.
Okay.
That I don't know if that builds the connections and camaraderie that is so necessary. Like, Arteta does a great job. Welcome to my world. Hoppy easy. But Arsenal has done a great job of building culture. I don't think Chelsea has the culture that allows players to thrive and develop and really become those mainstays in a team.
That's what happens when you fire a manager after 2 months, after 3 months, after one little thing happens. And you, at a certain point, I'm not saying that like this is a bad thing, but you have to back a manager to stand up to players, because you can't let players run the dressing room. Like, you just can't.
But here's the thing. I think a lot of managers want to have input on the decision making of who they're recruiting, what kind of players they want to bring in, what age, what gaps need to be filled in the team. And at Chelsea, it feels like there's no questions. The manager has no choice in who's coming in and who's going.
Yeah.
And that would be extremely frustrating. So that's why Maresca was looking around at other positions. And that is what precipitated him leaving.
It's all just like one big comedy, isn't it?
It does feel like
it's a bit, isn't it, Chelsea?
So
I think it is.
Yeah, I don't know. But okay, that's a great segue into our next question. For Chelsea assets, so they do blank in 33. They double in game week 33.
Sorry, blank in 34.
And they blank in 34. How many Chelsea assets do you think is the right amount?
I hate to say it, but I would say 3. Based on what we were just saying. Fuck me, but no. So I would say that, I mean, that anybody that's wildcarding in 32 is probably going to have João Pedro, right?
Most likely.
He's probably the priority. I mean, he has been a great FPL asset in the second half of the season. Yeah. Cole Palmer is going to be in there too.
Yeah.
because you can't have Enzo because he's not playing.
Well,
he
would
will be
actually
back. He'll be back. I know I'm joking. I would still probably throw in maybe one of the defenders. Like I think is Kukurea suspended as well. I thought he made comments as well too. I thought there was something about that, but I don't know. I would say 2 to 3. But I mean, if you look at their double, I mean, they play what's so Chelsea's double is Manchester United at home and Brighton away. I actually somewhat like the United fixture at home for them. Like that match, I would say, and I feel like I've said this like 5 times in this podcast, but it's going to be a high scoring match.
Yeah.
Like I just see the way United attack and the way they want to catch people on the counter with, and then the way Chelsea want to build up. Like it feels like Cole Palmer can have some moments in that game. Joe Pedro may get shoved in the back again, and Cole Palmer may take a pen. I mean, it's Harry Maguire.
Here's my thing.
Just kidding. I'm not trying to slander Harry Maguire. I think he's a better football people say, but
I think Cole Palmer needs to have a good, end of the season run because he also wants to be starting for England in the summer. But if he doesn't play better, I don't see him starting.
Yeah.
But let's say he goes on a run where over the next, what is there remaining 8 games, however many, if he gets 10 goal contributions or more, he's vying to start the first game of the World Cup. So
yeah, I mean, the simple fact is that if you are England attacker that can play the right wing, you have to be sitting there saying, who knows if Saka's going to be at the World Cup? Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? Like, who really knows? Like that position, there's question marks there right now.
Yeah.
And so if I were Morgan Rodgers could play that position, Cole Palmer could.
The thing with Saka for me too is not only is he going to be available, but is he going to be good enough? Because this season we haven't seen the best version of Saka. I know the injuries are probably a big part of why that is, but I think you have to question who's playing the right wing regardless if he's there or not.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to like. I'm not saying this at all, but like the thing that Saka would probably need the most is to take the summer off football.
Yeah,
and I mean that's never gonna happen. You can tell that he really loves playing for his national team for England, and I wouldn't ever like anybody that wants to do that, go for it. That's your priority, But if we were just looking at it in a vacuum, the best thing for him probably would be to sit summer off,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
But who knows? So where are we going? Like I just lost it.
I think that's going to bring us to close to the end of this podcast. So my question to you, Paul, for your team, do you feel like you're going to be using chips in Game Week 32? Yes or no question? You don't have to go into detail.
Yes. I think I'm going to play it the most practical way that I see.
Sure.
Do that. I'll go XYZ after that.
All right. What is your overall rank right now for listeners out there?
I don't have it memorized, but it's 35K.
Oh man,
it's somewhere around there.
Just remember, if you think Paul is being insufferable in any kind of way, I would be 10 times worse.
And see, the thing is that I'm fighting my desire to be like, how can I take risks? How can I raise my rank? And then I'm like, you know what? Actually, at this point in the season, it's probably better to be a little preventative, mix offense with defense, and just kind of not preserve rank, but keep things steady,
Yes. Yep. I hear you. That's a good idea. It's good to, I feel like within the FPL narratives, we always hear is it sword or shield, right? Are you going to play attacking wise or playing defensive wise? Shield is defensive for anyone who didn't get that.
What?
The thing there is, it always depends upon how much risk you want to take on. And I think being more conscious of your risk is a smart way to play at the position you're in.
Yeah.
But I will still catch you.
You may. It is entirely possible in the rest of the Premier League season. Which I would absolutely lose my we would record like what would be the best way to say it? I want to say like an immortum, at the end of the year podcast. And it would just be me just like killing beer after beer, just like passing out here in the podcast.
Cut to our Game Week 38 preview and we're tied on points. And Paul is listening.
Yeah. So, and honestly, there's a world where if I play chips wrong and then you play everything perfect, Holland goes absolutely crazy if you decide to go that route in 36, because that double does look really good. If he has a massive haul in there, even if I still captain him, you can make up a ton of ground really quickly. So
that's the hope. But I think I have 130, 140 points to make up.
Yeah.
And that's a big gap to close. So I have my work cut out for me.
You never know.
That's going to bring us to the end of this podcast. But I do want to leave one last piece of advice for our listeners out there.
Mm-hmm.
As far as it goes with planning out your team and deciding when you're going to use your chips, I would really advise anyone to prioritize thinking creatively with their team. There are these very specific narratives that pop up where Game Week 32 was the exact time to use a wild card, right? Before we figured out what happened in the Arsenal and then West Ham losing the leads. Well, for some teams, Game Week 32 still might be the absolute best time to use a wild card. So keep in mind that there are alternative routes outside of what everyone is saying you should do.
Yeah.
I would really advise you all to just take the time, sit down, look at where your team's at, figure out what teams you want to prioritize over this next stretch, and then figure out which players from those teams you want to target. And then from there, you can get a better idea of, how you need to use your chips to maximize those specific teams and their players that you prefer. So that's my last piece of advice for anyone that's still listening to the podcast.
Luke, I have one closing piece of advice for you. Triple captain Holland in Game Week 34.
On that little piece of shit housery, we're done.
All right, thanks guys. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, everyone.